computer.
Got it.
All right.
Got it.
All right. So we're on my cell phone. So my son is gonna be holding it. So you gotta point it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come over here. Yeah, for whatever reason, it is not. I'm gonna try to. I think it keeps connecting to my phone, but then when I try to do it to my laptop, it didn't want to play with my laptop this morning. So he's gonna have to hold the cell phone. So if he moves around, let him know.
Okay.
Say, hey, we're getting dizzy over here.
Okay.
How's everybody doing this morning?
Good. Good. I'm. Anybody there? Anybody?
Yes, Sister Williams.
Oh, Sister Williams is there. Oh, hi,
Yeah,
Sister Williams.
She's going to get her notes.
Oh, okay.
So we'll start in a few minutes. Let me see if I can get this thing. Yeah, I'm going to play with it afterwards. So if I send you guys a email on it, I'm gonna see if I can connect it to my computer again, because it's easier to record that way. So I don't know why it doesn't want to play today, but it says end the meeting, and I don't want to end it now since we are connected. So we'll wait.
Okay.
This morning we're gonna do page 96. Page 96 to the mastery of Christ conscious. Page 96. All right, we finally got Canada on. Yay! So good morning. How was everybody?
Good.
All right.
Excellent.
Any questions for me? Any questions? Anything, any, by the way, anything at all. Happy Palm Sunday to everybody. It's Palm Sunday, absolutely. Okay. Next week is Easter Sunday.
I have a question for you, Pastor.
Good morning, Anson. How are you?
Hi. I have a question for you.
Yes, I can barely hear you. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on real quick. Let me, I'm going to put you over here. What's your question?
My question is, if you're in a negative state of mind, how would you get out of that negative state of mind? I know we've talked about you might as well just be thinking about the satisfaction that you have. However, it goes back to the old habits of just you thinking about it over and over again. And even if you try your best to kind of apply what we've learned, at the back of my head is still the same. I think Pastor Mickey's got disconnected. He's not talking.
Hold on.
Please.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Hello?
I could barely hear you.
Pastor, also, can you send the document, the page that you are talking about this morning, because we don't have it.
Oh, there you are. Anson.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I am so sorry. You were garbled. I only caught the first part of your question.
Okay, do you want me to repeat it again?
If you don't mind. I heard, how do we change the negative thoughts?
That's right. Yeah, because I'm falling back to my old method of looking at a situation where everything is always in a negative state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're trying to cultivate a new habit of changing our mindset to, if we're starting to think negative, we acknowledge it and then we change from there. But the changing part is the difficult one. It happens to me whenever I always think about relationships. It always happens to me whenever I'm talking about with other people. Even though my language is positive, my mind is always in a negative state of mind.
Okay. And first, let me say this. Can you hold it up? Let me say this. Don't be hard on yourself. That's the number one rule, is don't be hard on yourself.
Okay.
Okay? If you're not hard, even though great, you acknowledge it. Yes, that is the real, honestly, you're already 20% there because you're acknowledging I have these thoughts. And because you have acknowledged that thought, now we can go from a negative vibration to a high vibration. And I'm always asked, well, how do I get unstuck? How do I get from being a creature of habit? Well, one of the things that you had mentioned to me was you like shooting the bow and arrow.
Yep.
When you're in the archery lane and you're shooting, are you thinking about the broken heart or the relationship?
No. I'm focusing on the target.
You're focusing, there you go. So now let's go one step further. When you're there and you're shooting and you're focusing on the target, are you satisfied?
I don't know if that's the feeling, but I definitely felt calmness in my mind.
Calmness. Are you happy?
If I hit the target, yes.
Well, let's just say just for recreational purposes, that you are able to just go out and just shoot. Even if you hit it and miss it, you're enjoying just being in there and being in that moment because you created that moment.
Right.
Because you like it.
Yeah, that's true.
For no other reason other than you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you like it even more when you hit the target.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you hit the target, is that satisfying?
Yes. Yes,
How does it feel to hit the target?
Very satisfying. I think that's the word.
Very satisfying. So one of the tricks is to try to go emotionally to that place when you feel the negative waves coming to you. That's one of the ways to kind of take your mind and go, man, I can't wait till the next time I get to go shoot the bow and arrow and release the peace. Release the peace. And have oneness with myself and oneness with the bow and arrow, one with the target, one with just in the space, and one with those around me. Try to go into that place emotionally. That's one of the tricks. And then just try to find that happy place because, again, nobody's saying you're going to change overnight. It's not going to happen. So what we're trying to do is create a new level of habit. So one of the new levels of habit is to try to not get you to think about that. It's going to come, but each time you think about more of the positive things, you won't get as crippled during the negative thoughts. Does that make sense? And now you get into a balance. So you're really looking for the balance, but the biggest balance is you are acknowledging that this is what it feels like. It does not feel good in my body to feel this way, and I don't like this feeling, and I want to change this feeling. So one of the ways that I change this feeling is to try as much as I can to take my mind to a place that is satisfying to me. And then I begin to tell verbally myself that positive version of that story that I would like it to be. So if it's a relationship, tell a positive story about the relationship, and then the new relationship that you're looking for will come into place. And then the negative one will have to diminish. I hope that makes sense.
A bit hard to understand, but I think I see where you're going, yeah.
Okay, let me try to slow it down a little bit. Each time you get that thought of the negative feelings, the great thing is you're acknowledging it. That is the biggest thing, because you know how many people don't acknowledge it and they just roll with that? that feeling, and then it's more and more and more and more, and then it's more negative, and then they attract more negative. You're in a great place because now you're catching that thought. You're aware of the thought. That is the biggest challenge that anybody can face, is being aware and acknowledging and accounting for, this is my thought. So if this is my thought and I don't like the way this thought is, now let me try to practice better thinking thoughts. Things that make me happy. It can be childhood memory of eating cake or playing in the playground or having a conversation with a best friend, or even telling the story to yourself, the relationship you want to be in and what it looks like and how it feels and why you want to be in it. So now here's another trick. When those negative thoughts come, simply ask yourself, one, I'm going to say, is this satisfying thought? You're going to say no, but how do I change it? Say, what do I want and why do I want it? What do I want and why do I want it? And then get into the desire mode or the thinking mode of what that looks like and what that feels like. Does that make sense? That kind of help it out a little bit?
So to put it
a lot.
To put it simply, if you know you're already in the negative spot, what you want to do is you want to bring your mind back to where you're feeling the best. Is that
Yes.
right?
That is absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's a practice. Just like we practice the negative thinking of when that comes in. And here's why I say meditation is so important, because if you don't quiet the mind or stop resistant thinking, when those thoughts come, then they cripple us. So we have to quiet the mind so we can kind of control the mind. Let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. So now we can control the mind, but it takes a practice of saying, okay, I'm going to try my best to not think about that. And I'm going to try to put something positive on that negative story or that negative feeling. So we're trying to create the reality out of that emotion to what we're desiring. So if the relationship is the desire, then one, the person who broke your heart, you have to find the satisfaction with them and peace with them. But not only with them, but within your spirit. Okay? Because what happened is if you don't meditate, you go out of town, you hear a song, and it's going to remind you of that person. You're going to smell perfume, and it's going to remind you of that person. You're going to see some woman or some person that's going to remind you of that person. You see what I'm saying? So when we go out, those are triggers that we have to be in or be mindful of. Then where we're out, that I need to manage my mind. Philippians 4 and 5 teaches, or 4 and 8 teaches how to manage the mind. So really what we're doing is we're practicing how to manage the mind from going from a negative state of thinking, because I'm aware of it, to a positive way of thinking, because now I'm feeling it. Did you notice the difference?
Yeah.
Did that kind of help you a little bit?
Yeah, actually.
And each time that thought comes to you and you acknowledge it, say thank you. Say thank you. Why say thank you? Because now I'm aware of that I'm thinking this thought, and I'm appreciative that I can change the thought. And it's going to take practice, and it's going to feel good to not think about this anymore, because I want to, you see what I'm saying? You want to hype yourself up, if you want to call it, or, motivate yourself any way possible that's going to do that without it being over. Because some people will get into over and then they become addicted to things.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So find whatever way meditation works for you. And it's not just a matter of just sitting in one place. It's a matter of finding the satisfaction, bless you, that's going to slow the thinking thoughts, the monkey mind. It's going to slow that thinking down. Okay? So meditation could be in the shower where nobody's bothering you, or
walking in the park, or you know, in the archery. That is a form of meditation because you're identifying, isolating, and focusing on something other than that issue. You cannot serve two masters. You either love one or hate the other. You cannot listen to all the radio stations at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is try to change your vibrational signal into the positive because you're aware that you're vibrating in the negative. And it takes practice. And again, don't beat yourself up. Move your finger. Okay? Don't guilt trip yourself because you didn't catch it. Be thankful and say, yay, I caught it. I'm aware I caught it. And I'm glad I have this feeling because now I don't like this feeling and I want to change this feeling. Okay? Any other questions?
No.
All good?
All good.
All right.
Pastor, we didn't get your documents, your material.
Mastery of Christ Conscious?
Oh,
It's the large document.
Mastery of Christ Conscious?
oh yeah, okay. I have it here.
Page 96. Yes, commit to awakening to the peace within you already, which is actually right in line with what Anson was asking for.
Is it 5 minutes a day, the foundation of self-mastery?
No. It's a mastery of Christ consciousness. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you. Let's see. I think I can send it to you. Do you have it over here?
I have it. I have it.
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
He has my phone. I have to send it from my phone.
Lily, can you please send it to me?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right.
And I think I'll make sure, Melissa, I'll send it back to you again. Let's see if I can send it to this one.
Which one is it?
Mastery of Christ Consciousness.
When did you send it?
Oh, it's been a while.
Because mine doesn't show.
Melissa, I'm gonna send it. Oh. All right, I have to send it to my other one. I have to log in on this one.
Can they send it to you for me until I get logged in?
I'm doing it already.
You already did it? Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm still.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I do apologize. I will try my best to make sure everybody has it. If you get an email from me, just send me a, hey, I got it. That way I know. I want to share, before we get into that, help me find it.
What page are we in again? I'm sorry.
96.
It's page 96. It's commit to awakening to the place already within.
Oh, okay, I found it. Yep.
Everybody found that one?
Mm-hmm.
It's in a different page for mine though, but I found the document.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because when I send it, I send it from a Word doc. It's send it from a Word document, so I'm not sure how everybody receives it.
Yeah, I think, but I did find a topic, so I think we're okay for now.
Okay, if I need to send it by a different format, please let me know.
Yep.
Okay. Let me share this with you real quick, and this will kind of help you guys, I believe. I hope. Let me get up. We are each responsible for the thoughts we think. When you're in alignment with who you really are, you cannot help but uplift those whom you come in contact with. Your value to those around you hinges upon only one thing, your personal alignment with Source Creator God.
And the only thing you have to give to another is an example of that alignment, which others may observe, then desire, and then work to achieve, but you cannot give it to them. Everyone is responsible for the thoughts they think, and the things that they choose are the objects of their attraction. Does that make sense? Now, as I was explaining to Anson, try to match what I was trying to explain to you, Anson, into this. Tell yourself, my every story is attracting its vibrational match. Every thought you think is vibrating at a very personal frequency, and by the powerful law of attraction, the essence of that which is like unto itself is drawn. That thought is now attracting another thought that is vibrational match. And now those combined thoughts are vibrating at a frequency that is higher than the thought that came before, or they will now, by the law of attraction. And then you'll have another and another, until eventually the thought will be powerful enough to attract a real life situation or manifestation. So what we want to do is try to tell a better feeling story other than what we've been telling. Well, Pastor, that's lying. No, we're telling a different story. Does that make sense? And try not to, when you get into a negative place, we're creatures of habit. We like to talk about it to other people and explain why we're feeling this way. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but most people that do that like to explain their positions or their situations, okay? Try your best not to share that story to anybody if all possible. A lot of people say, I have to talk about it. I want to get it off my chest, or I have to explain this to you, okay? And normally, 9 times out of 10, when we tell that story, does it feel good? No. It feels horrible.
That's true.
But because we're creatures of habit, we tell the story here, we tell the story here, we tell the story here, we tell the story here. Now I've been told this story, which built up what I just said in terms of that momentum, which now is attracting unto me that which I don't want. So the practice is to try to shift that thinking as much as possible, and that's the real challenge, is try to shift the mind from thinking that. I never said it was going to be easy, but once you get the hang of feeling satisfied in the place of neutrality, then it gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier. So what we're doing is we're putting it into practice, just like when we put into practice the 30 days of practicing unconditional love. When we see others and we see ourselves, remember that? That ends next Sunday, by the way. That's going to be the end of this. But if we practice that and continue to practice that, then when those negative thoughts come, because they will come, we're able to manage it much better. You remember when I was teaching on divine dichotomy? This is the balance where people want to get rid of it, and I say own it, but don't let it consume you. In other words, we created a thought based on past experiences. And then we build a habit out of those past experiences. So now it's time to build new habits of now experiences. And now that will help my future in terms of learning to be more positive and more gentle with myself. And here's another practice. Here's a practice for everybody. And I think I shared this with many of you. On a piece of paper, write down 100 things that you love about yourself. 100. Matter of fact, as we finish this last challenge, this is going to be the end challenge. I ain't going to have no more challenges, not for a while. But this end challenge, write down 100 things that you only love about yourself. Wow. And that right there kind of helps you get out of that place of thinking negative thoughts into, okay, now I need to love myself, because how in the world can somebody ever love me if I don't love myself?
We've been busy loving them and loving them and loving them, and they've been the object of our desires. And then when they don't perform the way we want them to perform or do what we want them to do, now we're heartbroken. And it goes back to, again, you cannot change people and you can't change the world, but you can change your own perception and your own reality. So it's really honestly just a practice. It's a work in progress that keeps going on. And the more you practice it, the better it gets, the better it gets, the easier it gets, the easier it gets. Now, when you're in that place, you're able to help others that's going to come into your path that are in similar situations. Anson, man, I'm having these thoughts, man. I'm having this. They're going to come to you because now you're at a different place than you were before. Because now you start telling a different, better feeling story about what you had once told before. So now people sense that vibrationally from you. So now you're not trying to fake it till you make it. Now you're in the realness of what you're experiencing, which is the desire of satisfaction and not heartbreak or loneliness or lack or whatever we're experiencing at that moment. So you always hear me say, rejoice in trouble. Rejoice in a time of trouble, because those thoughts are going to be troubling to you. So we have to be happy with the thought that we caught the thought. Does that even make sense? Yes, no, maybe so, kind of, sort of. Okay, throw it back at me so I can clean it up for you.
It's good.
It's good. Anson, what do you want me to clear up a little bit for you?
When you say rejoice in a time of trouble,
Yes.
what do you mean by that? Like,
Be happy when trouble comes, because trouble is only temporary.
right, because everything passes.
Everything passes. But what people do is when trouble comes, they like to stay there and keep in it, and then they want to talk about it and talk. In other words, they begin to, remember I used the example of we overreact to things instead of trying to be in a place of neutrality and non-judgment. Well, that's part of the practice of how well do I balance.
Okay.
Does that kind of help you a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, it's a continuous practice. Every day, wake up and love yourself. Not that you don't love yourself, but love yourself more. Love yourself more. Give yourself treats. Take yourself on vacation. Take yourself on dates. So we have not been used to being by ourselves. And then when we are by ourselves, we're lonely by ourselves. And then we expect others to fill in that emotional gap for us, and they can't do it. So I have to practice loving myself. So I have to practice being happy when trouble comes, because I brought it into my experience so that I can learn not to stay in it and to teach others how to stay in love when it comes. Does that make sense? It's gonna come, but how well do we manage our emotions when it comes? Do I let it consume me, or do I take a few breaths, say my prayers, be in a place of peace as much as I can within the situation and the bounds of what's happening, you know what I'm saying? With all things and the variables of the reasons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a practice. So as you practice loving unconditional love to yourself, and you practice it as you go through the week, now it makes it a little bit easier in the transition of those thoughts. Because you can't think about unconditional love while you're thinking about negativity. Is negativity going to slip in there? Absolutely. Is somebody or something going to shake you up? Yes. Absolutely. Be happy when it comes, because remember, spirit leads, mind follows, body obeys. Your body is teaching you satisfied, not satisfied. What am I experiencing when I encounter this person? What am I under the influence of? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How well do I bounce off of each other or other people? How well do I react to news or events? How do I stay in a place of unconditional love? What does that even feel like? What does it even look like? Does that make sense? And here's the beautiful thing about it. Whatever feels good to you, that is satisfying to you, that is pleasing to you is that unconditional love, which is that. Ooh, you become that. When you practice unconditional love, you become what? Unconditional love. So it's a practice, and I'm still practicing this. There's thoughts that still come back to me, and I go, oh, how that person, I go, oh, that. Not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I've learned to catch the thought like you're catching the thought, and then try to say, you know what? I'm glad that person came to my experience, because without them coming to my experience, I wouldn't know what I know now. I wouldn't know what I like and what I dislike as a person, or that event, or whatever situation that we create and experience. Does that help? That's good. Any other questions? I'm open. Bless you. Open. Questions, Lily?
No, it's just a reflection was that when I was living in Indonesia, it wasn't a very happy time for me. So sometimes, so later on, I learned to catch my thoughts, right? So I become aware that, oh, I'm getting depressed, or I'm thinking in a way that I'm so stuck. So I would purposely choose to go out and enjoy myself.
Uh-huh.
So either, sometimes I look for friends that, will give me the comfort, or go help somebody.
Right.
And
Right.
that kind of relief, kind of temporary relief, right? So it kind of takes your mind off from whatever that was bothering you. Or I would go and see a funny movie.
Right.
Or, yeah, or I'll read up something funny. That's the main thing.
Absolutely. You develop new habits other than staying in the old habits.
Yeah, but you have to physically remove yourself. That's what I meant. You cannot sit there and keep telling yourself, I need to change, I need to change. It's impossible. So remove yourself from the situation or the place that you are, so that you can tell yourself you need to be different.
Absolutely.
If you're sitting there or lying in bed, it's very hard to change. So you need to be physically getting out of that position.
Absolutely. Answering that summed up everything I was trying to say. I should have let you explain it.
No, this is my experience. I know it's very hard to tell you to think different, because thoughts are just coming in, right?
Thoughts turn into things. Thoughts turn into things. Remember, what you think is going to manifest into your physical reality.
Correct.
So we try to control the thoughts, and like you say, that's a great practice. But one of the things I was also explaining and answering is, you have to learn to meditate to quiet the mind, that when you're out, those things don't come to you and disturb your peace. Because you can turn the radio station on and then all of a sudden hear a song to remind you of that person.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you remove yourself, make sure that you have meditated and quiet the mind and find that place of satisfaction. Then go out there. Then go play with everybody else. And to stay away from the people that you don't like. But when they come, you still got to be in love with them. You have to practice being in love, because there are situations that I know right now where people cannot physically remove themselves from bad situations.
Yeah, correct.
So they say, Pastor, what do I do? What do I do? I'm stuck here. I know situations where there's couples that live in different houses that go through chaos and chaos and chaos and create years of chaos and confusion, and wonder why nothing happens, nothing changes. And they stay right there in that situation. And then when you say, hey, make it satisfying, they'll tell you every reason why they're not satisfied. And they told the story for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. So those people right there, and we have to remember this, everybody's not going to get it. Everybody has the free will to choose how they want to think. But if you can remove yourself and go to a place of peace, wow, that lines up right with this. So that goes right in the lesson. As you cultivate that practice, you will find out of the paper that peace that is already within you, that you have touched 1,000 times in 1,000,000 different ways, begin to grow more constant, like the rays of the sun beginning to filter through the fog that has settled into the mountain valley, obscuring the clarity of all things. In other words, when you get past the cloudiness of illusion in your mind, does that make sense? When you get rid of the fog out of your mind, now the enlightenment, the light comes on, the light bulb comes on. Make sense? Your peace descends gently like a dove, descending, as some would say, through the crown of the head, down through the brain, and down even to the heart and abdomen, through the cells of the body, while the body lasts. Gently relinquishing the world's rest on your decision to choose to teach what? Only love. So as you begin to practice unconditional love, you begin to teach unconditional love. Make sense? Hard to stay in a negative place when you're teaching unconditional love. This will awaken to the peace that's already in you. So really what we're saying is, as you experience those negative experiences, those negative emotions, how do you awaken to the peace that's already within you? How do you wake that up? How do you get that to wake up? Make sense? Here you're beginning to transcend the world that you have made and to reclaim the world made for you, a world that rests in perfect union, in the union of Father and Son, God and offspring, creator and created. The way is easy and without effort. Once you learn this, the easy way is easy thinking. You don't hurt yourself in the decision that you make. In other words, what value have you placed upon the world that has restored you to the peace that you seek? You have mistakenly thought, oh, this automobile would do it, this relationship would do it, this new career would do it. If I can only take a trip to the far corners of the world, then I will be at peace. If I can leave that person, I will be at peace. If I can go over there, I'll be at peace. And so peace never really quite comes. Now, you being the creator, abiding in enlightenment, knows that all events are neutral, so neutral that they have no effect except for those who choose to be caught up in the illusion. The creator awakened merely creates out of devotion to the mystery of that which has created him or her. The mind of an enlightened creator does not arise in the morning and say, how can I survive yet another day in this world? In the morning, an enlightened creator arises. The question is, how this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the what? Beautiful. How can I, right where I am, experience these treasures even within the peace and volume of this body? How can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me so that I discern or extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful, and therefore give them to myself? The mind of an enlightened creator knows that of themselves they do nothing, but in each moment of decision, they can allow the great power and mystery of love to direct their course. They can utilize time to refine their abilities to hear only the voice of love, moment by moment, breath by breath, day by day, until time is translated into eternity. And the mind rests, reclines in perfect union with God when you find that awakened peace. Events still occur, absolutely, like we talked about. The world is still what the world would choose to be, unaware that there walks in the midst one who is awake, who needs to make no show. They merely are the presence of wakefulness, knowing that in each moment they will now be informed of the guidance of the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, God, Source, the guidance of right-mindedness, the guidance of enlightenment, so that they are no longer attached to fearing. What should I say? What should I do? How will this person take it? How will that person take it? The world no longer concerned. They experience their life, their very life, as an ongoing flowing mystery, as though something else were living through them. This is the meaning of my friend's word, let that mind be in you, which was also in our Lord Christ Yeshua, as you would read in the Bible. That mind is the mind of perfect freedom. So I have a mind of perfect freedom. I have a mind of perfect freedom. I have the mind of perfect freedom. It does not belong to anyone, but it can be cultivated to flow through you. In other words, when you raise your vibration of love, now people are going to draw to that or away from that. But you know who you are. But only if every fiber of your beingness is wholly committed to holiness. You cannot leave a finger outside and get to heaven. All of your mind, all of your energy, all your gifts, all your very awareness must be committed to being the presence of peace. You have to be, do, have, word, thought, deed. So when we're asking, when we're asking to get rid of the negativity, you're still applying the 5 questions. Yes.
This part about where it says commit to holiness.
Commit to holiness. Commit to you're the good, the holy. Everything God created was what? Holy. How do you commit to holy? What is, people don't even know what holy is. Holy is unconditional love. Holy is that which is the purest essence of God. Holy is that which is anointed. Holy is that which is blessed. Holy is that who you are. So when I say good, holy, and beautiful, say that's me. You are good, holy, and beautiful because God made you good, holy, and beautiful. So just because of that creation, you are automatically by default holy. Hold the camera, baby. Thank you. They're looking at the floor. they getting seasick. Does that help you?
Yes.
Any other questions about what I've been reading? I know there's a lot of words. Any questions so far? Yes, no, maybe so? Yes. Questions? No? Yes?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Mhm.
Okay. The wisest of students are those that hear the word and put it into practice diligently for themselves, not for their mother, not for their father, not for their spouse, not for their brother, not for their sister, not for the sake of the planet, not for the sake of the universe, not for the sake of the new dawn that is coming, not for the sake of anything but themselves, for their self is what God created. And that self calls out to you to honor it by separating yourself from the illusion that you have allowed those negative emotions to come into the home of your mind. I threw that in there. And becoming wholly committed to teaching only love. There is no other way. Yes, you can learn to sit in meditation and allow the mind and body to float free, to relax. Yes, you can learn rituals that help focus your attention so that you remember what you're committed to, and the distractions of the world do not seem to quite catch up or catch you or hook you as much. There are many strategies that you can enjoy and experience. Hear me well. There are many practices of the mind that change those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. There are many strategies. I've just given you a few. So practice as many as things that are satisfying to you. Practice it. Have a game of it. Make fun of it. Do as Lily say, go away from people. Go in the mountains if you have to. Go far, far away. Go swimming, go shopping, spend money. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna jump down to, yes, okay. Forgiveness is an act through which you learn what love is and carry you into transcendence of the world, sharing only love, thoughts, supportive thoughts, as you gently look upon the Christ in another way that takes you into transcendence of the world. All right, I'm gonna kind of stop right there. Does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're going to practice awakening the peace that's already within you. So in this lesson 96 through 99 teaches Canada.
Bye, Canada. I love you.
Yes.
All right. Questions, comments, concerns?
Mm,
I know it's a lot of words.
No, I think it makes sense. Very good.
Okay.
Very good. I don't know. To me, this is what we have been practicing,
Absolutely.
and that we are just to have peace and always in peace and harmony.
Absolutely.
That's
Oh,
my,
and listen, can you share your experience? I was so happy with your text the other day. I shared it with everybody.
oh yeah.
That was so amazing. Can you
Okay,
share
let
that?
me tell you about the miracle. I didn't tell you about the miracle. The miracle was my tap, my faucet, my tap. You know the faucet in the restroom. It leaked and it stopped leaking.
Wow. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
you had dominion over it.
Yeah. You know how in the restroom there are two taps, two basins.
Uh-huh.
At first one is leaking, it's dripping,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next day the other one drip, and then and that morning I was telling myself, oh my gosh, the taps is leaking, so I probably have to spend money to buy a new one.
Uh-huh.
And when I was thinking about that, I said no, it cannot happen, and stop dripping.
Yes. That's awesome. Let them have dominion.
And I sent the text to Latasha. I sent the text to Latasha. Latasha was sharing with me yesterday that when she was in a very bad situation, I mean feeling that day, because she has a conversation with her sister. Her sister was having stage 4 or something. I don't know what stage cancer. So the sister was saying nasty things to her, like, nobody cares about me, nobody loves me, when Tasha has been calling her every single day, So Tasha went into a very deep hole. She was bad and all that. And then the next day, she went to sleep with her mind still working, she couldn't, her body cannot accept that.
Right.
And the next morning, and then the next day, I received her text. I sent her the text, and she said that, what Melissa know? She should just mind her own business.
Yes. Yes.
Then she was kind of a little bit aggressive there, and then she's still going around in her house feeling uneasy, and so she called Mickey. She talked to Mickey. Mickey said, okay, what's the problem, and then Mickey said, you see, Tash, because you allow all these people to affect you.
Yep.
and you shouldn't. So then she went into a satisfying situation.
Good. See how you influence her? That's the influence and the inspiration that we have under others. Because we have to practice this stuff. If we don't practice it, then it becomes useless. So good job. Yay! You're a deliberate creator, and I was so proud of your text that you sent everybody when you woke up. That was awesome. I could not have sent that text better myself on what we teach you all.
Yeah,
so
and now my angel is teaching me how to be independent. That I'm not supposed to rely on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. You're God, little G. A little God does not have to rely on anybody, and you don't have to mimic anybody else.
You see, this is the thing. On the 15th tomorrow, I have to pay my contribution to to help my parents, right? In this house, for this house, the mortgage contribution for the mortgage, and I don't have the money, and I start my panicking mode again. You know, I got my panic mode, and this I've been asking for help for the angel, and I went into meditation. I did my meditation, and so the answer the angel was telling me is to be responsible of my actions.
Yep. And what he's saying is, when he say be responsible in your action, is your thinking. Be responsible in the thought that you think, because what you think is going to manifest into your reality. Be a responsible thinker.
Yeah. So at that part, I stopped thinking about it, and I just pray, and that miracle happens. If it doesn't, then I just ask for more days.
And you're gonna get more days. Here's a secret. Say, it's on the way.
Oh, it's on the way.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
It's on the way. Hold it, it'll come. It's on the way. See?
Yeah, and also that I'm facing a deal, property deal, whether I should go ahead and to recommend it to my client. And so I was thinking about it, whether I should go about it or not, whether this is going to be a good investment or not, for him. Then yeah, and the angel says that you don't rely on anybody else. I have my own ability and capabilities.
All right, absolutely. Well, keep up. I am so proud of all of you. Keep up the work. If you guys have any questions, Canada, if you have any questions, you can email me or contact Melissa and she can relate. Anything at all. It can be during the week. It doesn't matter at all. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? If not,
No.
love you guys. Have a blessed week creating with Source Creator. We love you all. Have a blessed day, okay?
Okay. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.